Jimmy.
What's up? What's up?
Did I hit something?
What is it?
It's a flat? What? No.
What the fuck? You better pull over and see.
Yeah.
Still alive.
No. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
I know I'd go from rags to riches if you would only say you care. And though my pocket may be empty, I'd be a millionaire. My clothes may still be torn and tattered.
To me, being a gangster was better than being president of the United States. Even before I first wandered into the cab stand for an after-school job, I knew I wanted to be a part of them. It was there that I knew that I belonged. And to me, it meant being somebody in a neighborhood that was full of nobodies. They weren't like anybody else. I mean, they did whatever they wanted. They double parked in front of a hydrant, nobody ever gave them a ticket. In the summer, when they played cards all night, nobody ever called the cops.
Must I forever be a beggar? These golden dreams will not come true. Will I go from rags to
Tootie Cicero.
my fate is up to you?
Tootie. Tootie ran the cab stand and the Bella Vista Pizzeria and a few other places for his brother Paul, who was the boss over everybody in the neighborhood. Paulie might have moved slow. But it was only because Paulie didn't have to move for anybody.
Must I forever be a beggar?
You started. I started. It's your fault.
At first, my parents loved that I found a job across the street from the house. My father, who was Irish, was sent to work at the age of 11, and he liked that I got myself a job. He always used to say that American kids were spoiled lazy. And my mother was happy after she found out that the Ciceros came from the same part of Sicily as she did. I mean, to my mother, that was the answer to all her prayers. I was the luckiest kid in the world. I could go anywhere, I could do anything. I knew everybody, and everybody knew me. Wise guys would pull up, and Tootie would toss me their keys and let me park their Cadillacs. I mean, here I am, this little kid, I can't even see over the steering wheel, and I'm parking Cadillacs. But it wasn't too long before my parents changed their minds about my job at the cab stand. For them, the cab stand was supposed to be a part-time job, but for me, it was definitely full-time. That's all I wanted to do. I see, people like my father could never understand, but I was a part of something. I belonged. I was treated like a grown-up. Every day I was learning to score. $1 here, $1 there. I was living in a fantasy. My father was always pissed off. He was pissed that he made such lousy money. He was pissed that my kid brother Michael was in a wheelchair. He was pissed that there were 7 of us living in such a tiny house.
Tell me about this. It's a letter from school. It says you haven't been in months. In months?
But after a while, he was mostly pissed because I hung around the cab stand. He knew what went on at that cab stand. And every once in a while, I'd have to take a beating. But by then, I didn't care. The way I saw it, everybody takes a beating sometime.
I can't make any more deliveries. What do you mean you can't make any more deliveries? You're gonna fuck everything up.
My dad's gonna kill me. Look.
Come on with it. No. What about it? Nope. That's the guy. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. You know this kid? Yeah. You know where he lives? Yeah. Deliver mail to his house? Yes. Yeah. Well, from now on, any letter from that school to that kid's house comes directly here. You understand? Yeah. Another letter from that school goes to that kid's house. It's in the fucking over here going first.
That was it. No more letters from truant officers, no more letters from school, in fact, no more letters from anybody. Finally, after a couple of weeks, my mother had to go to the post office and complain. How could I go back to school after that, pledge allegiance to the flag, and sit there with government bullshit? Paulie hated phones. You wouldn't have one in his house. He used to get all his calls secondhand, and you have to call the people back on an outside phone. There were guys that all they did all day long was take care of Paulie's phone calls. For a guy who moved all day long, Paulie didn't talk to 6 people. If there was a union problem or, say, a beef in the numbers, then only the top guys could meet with Paulie to discuss the problem. Everything was one-on-one. Paulie hated conferences. He didn't want anybody hearing what he said, and he didn't want anybody listening to what he was being told. Hundreds of guys depended on Paulie, and he got a piece of everything they made. It was tribute just like in the old country, except they were doing it here in America. And all they got from Paulie was protection from other guys looking to rip them off. And that's what it's all about. That's what the FBI could never understand. That what Paulie and the organization does is offer protection for people who can't go to the cops. That's it. That's all it is. They're like the police department for wise guys. People looked at me differently, and they knew I was with somebody. I didn't have to wait in line at the bakery on Sunday morning anymore for fresh bread. The owner knew I was with, and he'd come from around the counter no matter how many people were waiting. I was taken care of first. Our neighbors didn't park in our driveway anymore, even though we didn't have a car. At 13, I was making more money than most of the grown-ups in the neighborhood. I mean, I had more money than I could spend. I had it all. One day, some of the kids from the neighborhood carried my mother's groceries all the way home. You know why? It was out of respect.
Hi, Mom, what do you think? My God. Gangster.
That was the first time I'd ever seen anyone shot. I remember feeling bad about the guy, but I also remember feeling that maybe Cody was right. I knew Paulie didn't want anybody dying in the building.
You're a real jerk. Wasted 8 fucking aprons on this guy. I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. I'd toughen this kid up.
It was a glorious time. The wise guys were all over the place. It was before Appalachian and before Crazy Joe decided to take on Boston and start a war. It was when I met the world. It was when I first met Jimmy Conway. He could have been more than 28 or 29 at the time. He was already a legend. He walked in the door and everybody worked the room just like wild. He beat the door down 100 just opening the door. He shot hundreds in the pockets of the dealers and all the guys around the game. And the bartender got 100 just keeping the ice cubes cold. Jimmy was one of the most feared guys in the city. He was first locked up at 11 and he was doing hits for mob bosses when he was 16. His hits never bothered Jimmy. It was business. But what Jimmy really loved to do, what he really loved to do was steal. I mean, he actually enjoyed it. Jimmy was the kind of guy who rooted for the bad guys in the movies. Yeah, he was one of the city's biggest hijackers of booze, cigarettes, razor blades, shrimp and lobsters. Lobsters were best. They were really fast. And almost all of them were Jimmy. They just gave it up, no problem. They called him Jimmy the Jet. The drivers loved him. They used to take him off without really good loads. Of course, everybody got a piece. And when cops say, "I no longer stop Jimmy," what did he do? We're being partners.
Sometimes I wonder why I feel the lonely night. The melody was my baby, and I was blue.
By the time I grew up, there was 30 billion a year in cargo moving through Idlewild Airport. And believe me, we tried to steal every bit of it. You gotta understand, people up near the airport were along with Paulie. We had friends and relatives who worked all over the place, and they would tip us off about what was coming in and what was moving out. If any truckers or airlines gave us any trouble, Paulie had his unit people scaring them with a strike. It was beautiful. There was any beer money making the numbers, and Jimmy was in charge of it all. Whenever we needed money, we robbed the airport. Until it was better than Citibank. There was Jimmy, and Tommy, and me, and there was Eddie Steele, Frank Carmone, and there was Will Blacksburg, and his guys, Frankie Locke, Freddie Knows, and there was Peter Killer, brother, and had Ice, and Michael Cheese, and you could touch that thing because everybody was like,
Oh, you know, Sonny, you're a real fucking mutt.